Hello and welcome to the Chatters Invitational 100 match. I am Mighty Benaya and I'm going to be casting this game. My intent is to have a defensive position and to be a war correspondent of sorts. So I'm going to go through each of the major areas and tell you who some of the big players are going to be, people who have shared map with me. Obviously, there may be some additional individuals who share map with me later, and we'll have some new entries come in. But I'm going to go through the map for the first time with you all in some detail and show you kind of what's going on. So I'm going to start here where I am at. The Dragonian looks like he has moved all of his troops to either end of the island of Japan. So part of this may be defensive posturing. This may be a launch point for him to take out Hokkaido. It also may be that he is just watching his borders and gathering troops to increase morale, though I would think if he was wanting morale increase, he would place troops in Tokyo. As for buildings that he has, it looks like he has double workshops in several provinces. 4, 5. He's got double workshops in every single province. That is a lot of resources devoted to just workshops. He does have a single fort built here, but I am going to be surprised if he has enough resources to be any kind of naval threat. It could be that since he is an island, he's feeling confident not needing to build forts. So we'll see where that ends up. Also sharing map with me over here is Mongolia. So Mongolia has all of his troops in place. We are nearly at day change on the first day, so it doesn't look like Mongolia is planning on any offensives in the near future. He does have a workshop and he's building a car in his double oil region. So looks like his plan is to turtle up and defend. He's got a fort on this side building. And then he's got a double workshop with a car on his gas, which is an interesting choice. Obviously, British East India wants to chat with me. Kalismer looks like they are going to be a more defensive player and interacting with the players around them as reactively as possible. Down here is Maglika. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong, but this is the first time I'm trying to pronounce it, so there is that. Looks like they have moved most of their troops north. There appears to be an attempt of an attack on Bombay at day change, so we'll see how that turns out for them. They have about 30 troops headed that way, and then they have troops spread across their northern border as defense from British Bengal. And then they have some scouts going into the water to make sure to prevent any naval invasions from happening. They are keeping 10 troops in their capital. They have built a fort in their capital, and it looks like they have built workshops in their doubles. They only built workshops in their double oil. So it appears that where did that car come from? Oh, here's another workshop. Okay, so workshop in their coal province and a workshop in their double oil province. It does look like they rushed a car because it is not through day one. So a single rush happening, not a big deal. And then this fort is not complete yet, so that was not rushed. As we go up along the map, there are several players that I have not chatted with, but as we come into Europe, we have Tom, the timid cat. This is not the same as the Tom and Jerry. Obviously, this Tom is timid. And he does look a little bit timid. He's got all of his troops stationed exactly where they started. So let's hope that we have some activity going on later in the game. And this may be a ploy to prevent individuals from thinking that he's active, but he's watching very closely. I don't see any buildings, though. That is concerning to me. Maybe there is some sort of strategy that he's got going on, but he doesn't have any workshops, he doesn't have any forts, and his capital isn't overly exposed, but I would be concerned. Actually, no, this is not a player. This is an AI as of right now. So the players that he has to contend with are... Oh, here, there's Jerry. So Tom and Jerry would have to worry about each other, theoretically. Jerry has given me right of way, but has not given me shared map, so I'm not going to go through his information. But he would have to worry about Jerry, and he would have to worry about Tallbrook, which is this area. But he doesn't have to worry about communist Russia. So that may be why he is not building anything. But that is concerning to me that he has waited an entire day and not built a single thing and kept everything in place. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for him. Down south, he who went to Malta in Rome has taken a bit of an aggressive approach. He's moved all of his troops either north or south, and it looks like he is steering towards Austria. Austria has, from what we can see, abandoned their double iron province. Not sure where he is, where he's going. Looks like he's moved some troops over to the other side. And so it looks like Italy is staging an invasion of Austria in the first hours of combat of the game. So Europe is always a madhouse of just insanity. And so it'll be interesting to see how Italy combats that and is able to make progress. Italy obviously will need to watch out for France. France has abandoned this border, as has Italy, but if France decides to come by with a small army, Italy could be in danger. Italy has built a double workshop and is building a barrack, so it looks like Italy is looking to build some cavalry, and they have built an armored car, or they are just about complete with an armored car in Turin. I cannot see. There is a fort in Parma that is being built. Rome has a workshop. Looks like Rome is going to be building cavalry as well, with a workshop and a barracks. And then it does not look like there are any other major buildings that are being produced, but there is a large gathering of forces. None of the stacks are very big, but they're all sporadic, and they look to be moving mildly towards Greece, which is a player, which is Alexander the Great. Alexander's doesn't seem to have moved any of their troops, so they might be caught unawares, but there are several Italian troops in the water, and they all have delay orders to a rally point just outside of Grecian waters. So that will be interesting to see. Farther south, I do not currently have any information on individuals in Africa. However, I do know that King Spankerton is going to be casting in this area. I was not aware that King Spankerton was going to be casting until after I had announced that I would be. So it'll be interesting to see his perspective of what's going on in Africa. Grandma Rosette did mention perhaps sharing a map with me so that we could see some of the things that were happening in Africa. But of course, I will only comment on things that I'm seeing, that I'm able to see. And it looks like Africa is going to be an interesting place. And we will go through that briefly with an analysis of the coalitions currently in the game. But before we do that, let's move over to the Americas. In the Americas, I have Mr. Santa. And Mr. Santa has done a lot of scouting. They have kept most of their border troops. The only location that is not a border with another nation, it appears, is this location, and they have maintained 9 troops here, but they are doing quite a bit of artistic scouting. So Mr. Santa, it appears, has built forts pretty consistently in all of their provinces, with the exception of Boston. And they have built workshops in Columbus and Washington, but have not built armored cars. So it is interesting to me that they invested in the workshops, but not in armored cars. It may be that they did not have enough iron to build forts everywhere that they wanted to build forts, and so they opted to not build armored cars. Armored cars are great defensively, but they can also be good offensively. They're a great flexible unit, in my opinion, and obviously I still have a lot to learn, but they are a great unit to flex where a fort is stationary. An armored car can move around. An armored car can quickly take territories if you're at war with somebody and you get a breakthrough. And they add power to your stacks that an infantry can't, in addition to having, an extra hit point to an infantry. So it's interesting to me that they opted to build forts which reduce your chance to lose an infantry, instead of building an armored car. So we'll see how this works out for the United States, Mr. Santa. For now, let's move on to One-Eyed Willie. One-Eyed Willie is the Caribbean island republic, so Cuba and a little bit of the Dominican Republic. They're doing a lot of scouting. One-Eyed Willie has built workshop in his double oil and is building an armored car there. But it doesn't look like they have done much more. So they are building workshops. It's really hard to select that island. Let me scoot back a little bit and see if I can. Nope. Okay, I can see that there's a workshop there. Oh, there it is. It looks like they are going to build cavalry out of this island, and they are going to build armored cars out of Havana. So a good spread there. But the benefit of being an island is it is much harder to attack you in the early game, but it's also harder for you to attack anywhere else. So it's a win-lose scenario where you have benefits and you have drawbacks. So it'll be interesting to see how they proceed through the game. Are they going to attack AI? Are they going to take out Santo Domingo, San Juan, Kingston? Or are they going to ally with the nations around them? And we'll see that later with the coalitions to try to have them be protected until they can build up a good force. So we'll see how that works out. Next up is Captain Jack Sparrow. So Captain Jack has moved most of their troops to the border of Panama. It looks like they are going to try to invade Panama City. It's always good to be able to capture at least part of Panama if you are in the area, because it prevents or makes it more difficult for opposing forces from either North America or South America to invade that area of the world. It gives you a lot of control, and that can be really, really helpful. They have maintained much of their troop presence throughout. They've moved piecemeal, little pieces of their troops down towards Panama, but it's not like they've taken all of their troops from an area to Panama. They've taken 5 here, 5 there, and they've left a good number of troops up north. So it looks like they are building. They're going to be building cavalry out of their double iron, as they have a barracks going down and they have an armored car already almost produced. And then it looks like they're going to be building armored cars out of their capital in San Salvador. There are no forts that I can see, So we will see how this build, it seems to be a consistent build. You have one of your doubles produce cavalry, and one of your doubles produce armored cars. So we'll see how that continues to transpire. It might be a good learning for all of us. As we move south, let's look at Lelocurd. Lelocurd actually has some, if you'll notice, some Chilean troops moving through their province. So we'll see where they're going. I believe the Chileans are scouting. Yeah, they're just Chilean scouts. So it looks like Peru and Chile and even Bolivia are working together, have given right of way so that they can get scouts to protect each other, which is interesting because none of them are in a coalition. If we can look real briefly, they are, I can tell you right now, I looked earlier, they are not in a coalition together, but they are working together, so we may see a coalition form later. Last, Chile gave me share map, and Chile is actually the Lord Wolf. So Lord Wolf, I know, is a decent player, and he did say watch closely. So I'm going to go through what he is doing. He did get right of way with several countries around him, and is sending scouts out. Okay, so Republic of Argentina is an AI, so Lord Wolf does not have to worry about an invasion from there as long as he keeps his popularity up. He does need to worry about Little Hurley, though, so he needs to increase relations, make sure that they're on the same page. So what has Lord Wolf done? He is building a fort in his southernmost province. He has kept 5 troops in all of his areas, and look at this. He has put 50 troops all in his capital, and he is moving them towards Argentina. So it looks like Argentina is going to be the first on the chopping block for Lord Wolf. They seem to have demilitarized briefly, it looks like, from Lord Wolf's perspective, and this could be a ploy, obviously, by Argentina. But it looks like Argentina is interested in taking out this AI down here. They may have had conversations and come to an agreement. Hey, we're going to slightly demilitarize, or it may have just organically transpired where they all left 5 troops. But it looks like Lord Wolf is going to stab Argentina and take the double gas, followed by what may very well be the rest of the southern area, which is really good for Chile. Chile is, because it's so thin, everything is bordered by something. It's very difficult to defend, and so having an aggressive, offensive stance could be very helpful for Lord Wolf. Last, I did not do this earlier, but Captain Not That Guy in Australia also gave me shared map. Captain Not That Guy looks to have built a single workshop in all of his provinces, in addition to a few forts, and then I think I saw 1 barracks here. So what's interesting is we spoke earlier about someone else that had built double workshops in all of their provinces and had 0 resources to build forts, weren't building any armored cars. And it's interesting to me that this player has decided to build single workshops in all their provinces and save money for forts, for barracks, to produce armored cars. I'm not sure what the plan is, but it might be an interesting plan to have a single workshop, which takes significantly longer to produce anything, and then a barracks, so that you can spam cavalry. Now, this particular country does not have an abundance of food. They have a double wheat, they have a reasonable amount of food. But that could be an interesting build in order to pursue the late game. It's not something I've ever thought about before, but it would be very, very weak early on, and you would need to have good allies. So something to think about, where you can spam cavalry really fast. It would be very, very costly in terms of food. But if you can produce 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cavalry every 2 days instead of 2 cavalry every day, that's a significant increase in your output. In addition to all of the generation of additional infantry, that is a really high production build. Not something that I think I would normally recommend, but if you have good defense and you have a steady supply of food, could be an interesting build order. Now, that is all of the nations that I have share map with. Let's go briefly through the coalitions as they are starting. This video is going to be a little bit longer because we got so many things to go through. But we have the McLarens, which is a great homage to How I Met Your Mother, where we have Robin Scherbatsky, and I'll allow it. Canada, essentially, is playing as the McLarens, and they are currently in first place, which means nothing at this point. It just means they have the highest number of teams. Second up is the Lion's Den, which is Madagascar, and I believe that is Angola and Congo. So Southern Africa is the Lion's Den. Asia, I bet you can't guess where they are. Sorry, I have a really dry sense of humor sometimes. They are all going to be in the China area. And then pirates, Elizabeth Swann, Captain Jack Sparrow, and One-Eyed Willie are all together in the island nation. I think we briefly referenced Captain Jack. No, One-Eyed Willie is the Caribbean islands, and I mentioned they're going to need to ally with coalition. Well, this is seeing that through. And then the United Isles. So it looks like there is a coalition of like Indonesia, Japan is in here. So a lot of times we'll see this. Pirates of Australia. So this is New Zealand and Papua New Guinea, and I'm not sure where Slinger is. I believe Slinger is in the Indonesia area. American Empire, which is in South America, it is Brazil and down in Paratini. And those are all of the current coalitions. But I do want to suggest again that we likely will see additional coalitions pop up, or we will see these coalitions of 2 and 3 grow larger as people decide to make friends. So as we look again at Lord Wolf, you remember, and Lalourd and Fig Newton of Your Imagination, they all had right-of-way with each other, and they were using it for scouting. So something to be paying attention to. Will we be seeing coalitions pop out of triumvirates like this? Something that's also interesting that I just now thought of is we're not seeing full coalitions yet. We're seeing coalitions of 3. Normally in a 100 game, day 1, day 2, day 3, we'll see full coalitions. So it's interesting to me that we're not seeing any full coalitions here. And a learning from that could be, if you have a couple of people that you trust in a 100 game, well, you might not want a full coalition. You might instead say, no, we're going to cut it off at this point, because in the later game, you can always adopt individuals from a farther region. Whereas when you have a full coalition, a lot of times you get stuck behind each other and it's harder to maneuver. So this will be an interesting game. I look forward to continuing to cast the entire game. Again, I am not going to be an aggressor in this game. I'm going to turtle up so that I can continue casting, so that we can all learn how to be better at this game. If you have anything that you want to suggest, if there's any learnings that we can all benefit from, go ahead and leave me a comment so that I can, read through those, and then I can learn and then I can share so that we all can get better. If you like this content, go ahead and give me a like. And if you want to continue seeing this series, hit subscribe so that you can be notified whenever I come out with a new video. That's all that I have for now. Soli Deo Gloria. Until next time.